I still don't know if this was the most embarrassing, funniest, or oddly wholesome thing that ever happened to me in junior high, but every time I think about it, I realize it probably changed the way I handle fear more than any serious advice ever could. So this happened when I was in 8th grade, that strange age where everyone is old enough to feel embarrassed about everything, but young enough to have no idea how to deal with it. Our school had this unspoken social hierarchy, and at the very top were the confident kids, the athletes, the loud, funny ones. And then somewhere near the bottom were people like me, quiet, average, mostly invisible, perfectly fine with staying that way. The setting for this story is a regular Tuesday, nothing special, except for one thing. We had to give oral presentations in language arts. If you're someone who loves presentations, you can stop reading because we are not the same person. For me, presentations felt like public trials. Standing up in front of 30 classmates while your voice does that weird shaky thing, your hands forget how to be hands, and your brain suddenly empties itself like someone pulled a plug. I had been anxious about this for a week straight, replaying worst-case scenarios in my head, tripping over words, forgetting my topic, people laughing, the teacher sighing. I was presenting about a book I actually liked, which somehow made it worse, because now I also cared. On the morning of the presentation, everything went wrong in small, annoying ways. I spilled cereal on my shirt, missed the bus, and had to walk in slightly late with everyone already seated, which instantly put me in that today is cursed mindset. When the teacher reminded us that presentations would start after recess, my stomach dropped. Recess felt like the calm before execution. Everyone was either joking around or practicing lines with friends, and I just sat there mentally rehearsing the opening sentence over and over, like if I repeated it enough times it would tattoo itself onto my brain. Spoiler, it did not. When we got back to class, the teacher started calling names alphabetically, which meant I was somewhere in the middle. Every presentation before mine felt like a countdown timer. I wasn't listening to a single word anyone else said. I was too busy trying not to visibly panic. Then something happened that I absolutely did not plan for. Right before my turn, one of the popular kids, the kind who always knew what to say, stood up to present. Halfway through his talk, he completely froze. Like, full stop, staring at the floor, silent for a solid 10 seconds. You could feel the room shift. This was not supposed to happen to him. Someone in the back giggled, and the teacher gently encouraged him to continue. But he just said sorry and asked if he could sit down. The teacher said yes, surprisingly kindly, and moved on to the next name. The class was quiet in a weird way after that, like everyone had collectively realized that this could happen to anyone. And then, of course, my name was called. I walked to the front feeling like I was underwater. My paper was shaking so hard I was worried it would make noise. I started my first sentence, and somehow, miraculously, I got through it. Then the second sentence. And then my brain did the exact thing I had feared. Blank. Nothing. Just static. I stared at my paper, but the words might as well have been written in another language. I felt my face heat up, and I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. This was it. This was the moment I had been dreading. And then, from the back of the room, someone whispered the next line. Quietly, just loud enough for me to hear. I looked up, confused, and saw a kid I barely talked to. One of those background classmates you recognize but never really interact with. He gave me a tiny nod, like, "You've got this." I picked up the sentence and kept going. A few lines later, I froze again, and this time, two different voices softly helped. Not mocking, not joking, just helping. The teacher noticed, but didn't stop them. She just watched. By the end of my presentation, my voice had steadied, and something strange happened. People clapped. Not the polite 2-second clap, but actual applause. I went back to my seat feeling like I'd just survived something big. After class, that same popular kid who froze earlier came up to me and said, "Thanks for going up there after that. I thought I ruined it for everyone." I told him he didn't, and we laughed awkwardly, and that was it. No big movie moment, no instant friendships, just a quiet understanding. Later that day, the teacher pulled me aside and said she was proud of how the class handled things, that junior high kids could be kinder than people gave them credit for. I didn't fully understand why she told me that at the time, but I do now. Looking back, The funny thing is that I barely remember what I said in that presentation. I don't remember the grade, or the exact words, or even the book details. What I remember is the feeling of being supported when I was convinced I was about to fail publicly. Junior high is full of moments like that. Moments that feel enormous while they're happening and then shrink with time, but they leave behind little lessons anyway. That day taught me that most people are too busy worrying about themselves to want you to fail, and sometimes the room you think is judging you is actually rooting for you quietly. If you've ever had a moment like that, where things didn't go perfectly but somehow turned out okay, because someone stepped in when you needed it, then you probably know exactly why I'm still thinking about this years later. And if you were expecting this story to end with a lesson about being brave or speaking confidently, well, you already know what to do next.